What's up, people? Hotep Jesus. We are back with another uncomfortable conversation. I am your host, Hotep Jesus.
I have an amazing show for you today. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Feels good to be back. I've been on a bit of a hiatus. Had a baby. That's been wild. So I took a little bit of break from the interviews. Chrissie got me back in the swing of things. I got another great interview lined up for next week and a couple other more in the future. You guys are going to really, really love. But before we get into our wonderful guest tonight, Grifties.com, Grifties.com. Go vote for your favorite grifter. I think somebody, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, was exposed today for being a paid Democrat operative, $50K or something like that. Amazing. So he's currently ranked, if I check the app right now, yeah, he's moving up in the rankings. Let me check his official ranking on my phone here. Last time I checked, it was 83. He's up to 80 now. In the lead, we have Black Lives Matter. Number 2, we have Chance Lunsford. Number 3, we have AOC. Number 4, we have Dr. Fauci. Number 5, we have Kamala Harris. Coming up fast is Meghan Markle at number 6. Number 7, we have the Lincoln Project. Number 8, we have white leftists. Number 9, Teachers Union. Number 10, Bill Gates. Coming up close on Bill Gates' behind is none other than Andrew Cuomo. You guys can go nominate people. Go vote at Grifties.com. Very, very fun app. If you haven't seen our award show, The Grifties, just type in Grifties. It'll pop right up. We have a YouTube channel dedicated to that. We just released our latest State of the Grift. Every month we drop a State of the Grift and bring you who we highlighted as the Grifter of the Month. Call it the State of the Grift from our President Doe Dubes. So make sure I go get subscribe to the Grifties channel. Without further ado, I have a wonderful guest to bring you today. The incomparable, the sensational, the comedic, and often hilarious Chrissie Mayr. Chrissie, what's up? Are you there? I think Chrissie froze. So we're going to come back to me. Figure out. I think her cat may have knocked her internet out. Ow! It just did some funny shit to me. Now you guys only see. I'm not going to adjust it because then I have to adjust it when she comes back on screen. This is what I get for being lazy and doing this thing through Zoom instead of my usual OBS channels, which require me to do a little bit extra work. Yeah, State of the Griff. In the meantime, we're going to wait for her to get back in here. What's today? What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, today is Tuesday. Make sure y'all tune in on Thursday. Hotep's been told you. We got some amazing things to talk about for that show. Run through those topics really fast. Swiss Beats and Timberland looks like they signed a deal with Versus. Papa John's be dropping an N-bomb. I saw a Coming to America movie. Obviously, we got to talk about the royal family and all the debacle going on with that. That's been wild. Drake dropped a new album. I'm not going to listen to it. All-star basketball game. Uncle Hotep's mom got the COVID shot. Oh, Rita, what's up, Rita? Rita was looking absolutely delicious yesterday on the stream. with her new tan. If you guys don't know, every Monday we publicize our Monday meeting with the Jean Core Project. Same channel right here. Building an awesome, awesome new destination for entrepreneurs. Somebody said NYC internet been shitty for the last couple of weeks. Really? Is that where Chrissie's from? Is she from NY? That Jean Core project will be launching within the next 2 weeks. We have a lot of great content coming. That there's an internet outage. I can't really drop links on mobile, but I know my fellow Wrenchman, have your back. All good, Sketch. All good. You can only see half my screen. Yes, that is because I'm waiting for our guest to come back online. Let's see. She says she's in the waiting room. Let's see. What did that do? What did that do to my screens? You're back.
I'm like, I can't believe I didn't think of it myself. It's really ingenious and hilarious. And I want to know about all the interesting ways. Like, how do you find out that people get paid? Like, how did you find out that Brooklyn Dad guy got paid?
Somebody did some snooping on opensecret.org. Apparently it's this website that discloses how much people are getting paid, or, you know,
Wow.
I guess from whatever political leanings, what have you. And that's how that got exposed. I don't have a time in my day to be sniffed up under other people's asses. But yeah, thank you for the compliment. We're going to that's going to be an annual award show. Maybe you should present an award next year.
Oh my God, I would love to. Any kind of like woman victim-y type award, I would love. Or any kind of anti-comedy thing would be great.
Yeah, maybe we can do like a cancel culture award. I know last year we did female grifty.
The Griftettes. They could be like a kick line.
The Griftettes. Maybe somebody should go nominate Chrissy for a grifty.
I've been called a grifter for sure. Called, and I'm like, where is all this money I'm supposed to be making off of whom? Yeah. I've been called a conservative mouthpiece so much. And by friends. Those are just good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you always been a Republican conservative?
No, not at all. It's been kind of a 180. I graduated college like super lefty, super feminist, super like not needing or like wanting a man, like the whole thing.
Really?
I don't know. And now looking back, I'm like, man, I feel like I was duped. And I think part of it might have been like my friends and like, I don't know, maybe my parents could have helped fill in the gaps a little bit more. But I think it's definitely so trendy, like definitely on the Northeast, like definitely the East Coast to just like, it's cool to not even think about being married and having kids. Like to even entertain those ideas is to be considered like lame or like not chasing your dreams somehow. And there just weren't enough cool examples of like women kind of doing both. Like I don't know. It's almost like my peers were kind of teaching me like, well, and it's almost like you can't even figure out if you want to get married and be a mom because you're being just like completely overwhelmed with messages of like, no, you shouldn't want to do that. If you're smart, if you're good at anything, you know, if you want any kind of a career, you should not want to get married and have kids. So it's like, oh, I want to think I'm smart. I want to think that I want to pursue a career. So I guess I should ignore it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I was tricked into being a slut for so many years. It was fun. I had a great time. But I could have probably turned down a couple years early, but it's fine. It's, you know what? I'm going to carry my message on to the youth. And I think everything's supposed to happen for a reason. And I just feel like it's a whole racket. I feel like feminism is kind of a racket. And I
want to understand the mindset.
Yeah, it's
right?
It's complicated because I was like growing up, like I have my mom kind of being like, oh, when are you gonna have kids? Like you're
and where's dad?
Some oh God, drinking beers in the basement with his feet up, watching Married with Children. That was like my entire
Okay, so
childhood.
he's present. That's wonderful.
He's physically there. Yes, he was physically there.
Okay.
He definitely, and as I got older, made it known that he was like kind of resentful of having to like be a dad and do family life. Like he would work. I appreciated like how hard he worked, how many jobs he had. Like growing up, he was a landscaper. That was very hard physical work.
Yeah.
And then he went on to be a teamster, which was very long hours, like wake up at 4 in the dark to go get a truck to drive around like a makeup truck for the movies, and be around celebrities. So that's difficult. Like worked real hard, like paid for us to go to college. Very grateful to that, but wasn't like, I feel like I missed out on some really key conversations. Like my parents were never like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, I think a parent's job is to be like, okay, here's this young adult growing up before me. Here are the strengths that I see coming to the surface. How can I help them get there? And I think a lot of parents just go like, well, here is what I want you to do because this is what I didn't do. Or like my mom was very much like, you have to go to, all 3 kids have to go to college because I didn't get to go. I went to secretarial school and guess what happens? I go to college, I get a degree, and then I become a secretary. And then eventually like find comedy, which
so how did the feminists find you? Is this something that happens at the university?
They found me in classes. Yes, they found me. They were everywhere. It was a liberal arts school. And it really sneaks up on you so much because you just equate it with being smart. Like you're in college, which automatically means like you're better than your parents. You're smarter than your parents. You're reading books, or you're at least buying books and having them around. So. Oh, and I think a big part of it was like I decided to be a women's studies minor, which is like they kind of shove it down your throat. Like I remember I was in an feminism course, and the big takeaway was like the reason why the planet is like in shambles is because of men. And it's like, I guess, but it just wasn't super constructive. It's like if you really want to kind of save the planet, or I don't know, save animals. It's just, I don't know. I feel like early on it placed like ideas in my head that weren't necessarily helpful. Like what good does it do to hate like other 19 and 20-year-old men if you're going to blame like the problems on the world of like old crusty men, like what, like that, don't be mad at Jerry. Like he's hung over. He could barely just shower and put his pants on for class. Like he's barely squeaking by.
So what's going through your mind, right? Like when you say this men hate, right? Are you unhappy that you don't have relationship with men and it's just physical, or are you happy? Like, what is your...
At the time, I think it was like, I was like oscillating between, cause I always had a job. I was never like in a position where I was like dating a guy for money. Cause that to me was like the ultimate trap. Like, this whole like, and not letting guys pay for dates for a while, that ended, thank God. But like, if a guy pays for a date, if you get a steak, then you've really got to put out. But if you get like a pasta, like maybe just a finger bang, I don't know. Like, I think growing up, I very much had it ingrained, this idea that like every day I'm alive, I'm costing my parents money, more and more money. So I think that did transfer to my dating life. So I just was like, oh no, men can't pay. Like we have to Dutch it up and I have to pay for stuff. And I was always working. And looking back, I think my sluttiness was what I went to avoid like real, true intimacy, because like we all know how we are on a first date. Like we're crushing it. We're bringing our best. We're like looking our best. There's like, no weird, your wax is on point. You're wearing the best outfit. You got to roll up your sleeves, blow the dude, do 100 A+ performance, you're just like, and then, you're your best, shiniest self on date 1, date 2. Right. But then it's like months in, and that's when they, see you to see somebody in all seasons of the year. Like, I think I was trying to avoid that because I knew that I would be kind of like impressive on a first date. Like, oh, she's so fun and funny and like down for whatever. And likes candy. I don't know. I think I was just like, you want that high, you want that like good feeling of like the good impression on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
That I would just, and then of course, like sex too. I definitely like became addicted at one point. Like you're just chasing it. It just felt like like a conquest. But then that kind of consumed me. Like that was all. Like I wasn't working on my career in my like this phase I'm talking about right now was like 20s, yeah, like mid 20s to 30.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't focusing on my career. I wasn't like thinking, what do I want to do with my life? What kind of a life do I want to build? It just was like this high. It was just like, it's just like getting another hit of this, like this validation drug. And
As a feminist, but chasing men.
yes. Oh,
How
for
does that
sure.
make
And
sense?
I felt like good about it. I felt like, oh, I'm this boss bitch. Like, I was like, I don't feel anything.
Were
But
you
then they
lying to yourself?
leave. God, I mean,
You said then they leave and
you know
what?
you know what it was? I would pick bad men. I would pick men that I like wouldn't get, that I wouldn't become attracted to. I'd be like, I'd be happy to see them leave. I'd be like, good, you don't floss, get out of here. You know, like I think I was just not. I was just not even low hanging fruit. You know, when you go to an orchard and there's apples on the ground already, I think I was doing a lot of that, a lot of ground apples. And then so when they don't follow up, or if you don't, you know, you feel good about not following up with them, you're like, okay, these I can let go, instead of thinking like, yeah, maybe I do want to like really try to seek out a guy who's like has a good job, or is a good person, or is kind, or is in good shape, or has the same values as me. Like, I think once the slutty dust settled, I was like, let me try. And I think I just really got lucky. Like that guy ended up coming to me. So I just wish that I had sort of like the slutty fog had maybe cleared a few years earlier. And I think I think a lot about what sort of how much of this was due to like my programming in college and the friends I was with. It's like, you can't really blame your friends. Like we're all in the same programming. And then it's also confusing because you have parents being like, when are you going to get married and have kids? And it's like, well, we're not even having the conversation that would lead you to like sticking with one dude.
Yeah.
So it was very confusing.
So when did the flip happen to like realizing feminism's toxic and the whole conservative thing?
I
Was
think
it an
I
event,
ultimately I couldn't sustain it because it's like I felt happiest like after each whatever conquest. It's like, but then you just got to keep up. You know, your Google calendars get full. You're on the apps. You're like, that's all you do. And I just, you know what it was? I hit like an emotional rock bottom. I think, oh, now I know exactly what it was. I was on Craigslist. I know who was on Craigslist in 2014. I was. And I remember it was like, and this was after a breakup. So I was very like vulnerable. It was like this Craigslist ad, and it was up on it at 2 a.m. for some reason. And it's something about trading massages. And for some reason at 2 a.m., you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anybody's listening ever been in this really bad place. Like maybe you're after a breakup. You just need like, you just know it's a bad idea, but you're like, I need some kind of human connection. I need like, it's dangerous because I was going off into the night to getting a cab at like 2 a.m. Take me to Bushwick. Like this was Craigslist. I didn't even see a photo of this person. It was just like, oh, come over. I could have been killed. I could have and should have been killed like 3 times over. And then I remember, oh my God. So I paid for a cab to go to this guy's. I met him on a street corner. And I remember I see the guy and I was like, he wasn't even that attractive. But I was like, you know, this is Craigslist. Where am I to suddenly have standards here? And then I was like, okay, let's go to a bar first. Let's have a drink. And then we were going to go to his place to like trade massages, which I really still thought was going to happen. And then he didn't want to take me to his local neighborhood bar because someone he knows like might see him there with me. And that's when I got so pissed. I was like, excuse me. I'm like, no, we're going there. Cause I'm thinking like, I'm way better looking than this guy. It's like, I know I'm like a desperate hoe on Craigslist looking for who knows what, but I got so mad. He wouldn't take me to this bar. I'm like, we're going. And then we go back to his house. And that was the thing that like pushed me over the edge. He's like, come on over. My place is really nice and like really clean. And then it wasn't. And it was just like a crabby massage. And then like, I think I gave him a massage and then we ended up just like kind of passing out. We didn't bang. It was just like unmemorable fingering or something. But I just remember like when you like have a hookup and then you wake up at like 3 a.m. or something, and you're just not in your familiar place.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, where am I? And then I was like, I had this moment of like, girl, this is like actually very sad. And like, this is a person who, if you met in waking life, you probably wouldn't even give the time of day to, yet here you are. Also, it was like, could have been so dangerous.
Yeah.
And then I remember he was like, oh, I'll pay for the cab ride back. And then I ended up just paying for my own cab ride back. And when I got back to my apartment in Brooklyn, I think when it was Astoria, Queens, I ended up tallying up like how much I had paid in cabs, like for that experience. And I think that was like a huge wake up. I was like, I just spent like $50 something to have this horrible for me, like went out of my way for this to happen. Like, and I just was like, girl, you have to like, something's got to change. This is not healthy. And then later on, I was like, that was also so dangerous. And I was like, why am I like doing this? I'm not on drugs. I'm not like homeless. Like, I just realized something was like kind of fucked up. So I just like took a break from that. And then got so lucky. And then met the next guy I met, current boyfriend, just met him, like got so lucky through comedy. And he was just like the nicest guy ever. And so it like really worked out. But I think that happens with a lot of us. Like you have to just have your whatever rock bottom of that situation. And then you start to go, okay, something's not working here. Like I'm supposed to feel like empowered and like like a boss. And like, of course I could just walk away. Of course I could just get a cab and leave. But it's like, if it's a lifestyle choice where you have to keep like needing more and more and more to kind of feel normal, then I had to take another look at that. But I don't know, maybe I got feminism wrong, but whatever my interpretation was of it was just like leaving me so hollow. And
so, I mean, you can leave feminism, but how do you end up going to the extreme right and becoming conservative?
And I don't even know if I'm extreme right. Like I've taken tests that have said like you're a libertarian. Like, I don't know. I think I'm anywhere from like libertarian to like starting to get semi-conservative.
Well, if you're libertarian, you're extreme right to the left.
Really? Oh, that's true. To them. Yeah.
To them,
if you own camouflage shorts, you're alt right. I mein, it takes less and less. It takes so little.
Yeah.
Like if you own a truck, you're alt right. It takes it used to like, take more than that. And now it's like, if you have a Southern accent, well, guess what? You're all right.
You're canceled. So was it, did Trump like, say something? Was it your boyfriend? Was it like what gave you that moment to flip? Because I know for some people it's a grift, right? It's not a grift for you though, right? It seems like this might be authentic.
By grift, you mean you only are doing this to make money?
Yeah.
No, God, no. I mean, like at no point has anyone offered me money for stuff. It actually followed first because of my sense of humor. Like, yeah, when I was right out of college, I did improv for 5 years, which is like very much like a musical theater crowd, an acting crowd, which is the total opposite of the people in the stand-up comedy scene. Like they're more just like people on their own. They're more autonomous. They're kind of they're scrappier. They're more like adults. Whereas like improv is more like they're just like overgrown kind of children. It's like there's just no way in hell you're going to make money doing improv. So I think I wanted to be more autonomous. So I kind of drifted into stand up. And then I was like all the things that people say about how terrible like late night liberal comedy is and Amy Schumer, where I was that was kind of my sense of humor for a while. And because I just felt like, well, this is what I have to do to be successful. This is how I saw other women in comedy kind of like break through, get to the next level. And then it wasn't really working for me anyway. And then as I got older, I found myself laughing at stuff that was less politically correct anyway. And just kind of having my own realizations, like, yeah, like it's easy to be a feminist until you need a shelf hung up, like I was a feminist until I needed a tire changed. Right. And then it's like, you're like, come back. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you get into politics or start finding your political leanings?
It was And it all kind of happened like, slowly, but then all at once. I started to get involved with Compound Media, which they were for a while known as the Free Speech Network. And a lot of people give them a bad rap. Oh, everyone there is alt right, far right, whatever. It's like a lot of it's just dick jokes. So I started to get shit when I was, going on Compound Media shows, and then eventually pitching and getting my own show there, which is a sex, dating, relationship show. It's like nothing. But I think for me, what activated me to get into politics was seeing freedom of speech, kind of like as it fits in with comedy, really start to be so fucked with. And I was like, oh wow, like if we can't make jokes, like what's next? If we can't laugh at certain things, then it's gonna get to a point where we can't think of certain things and we can't speak of certain things. And that really woke me up. And I was like, wow, like it doesn't even matter your intent. You can't even like, I can't do my job. Like if you can't make jokes at certain things, like if I can't make fun of a trans person or like a whatever, or another woman, it's like, well, shit, I can't do my job then.
Was there an event that happened that made you realize free speech was under attack? Was it Alex Jones getting banned? Was it?
Yeah, I would see people get banned and it wouldn't like affect me too much. I think it was when I started to get like a little bit canceled here and there. Like it would be a joke. It was like a tweet. Like I remember I ran a stand-up comedy show at the Stonewall Inn, which is a New York City, like a gay landmark. That's where the Stonewall riots happened. It's like also a national landmark too. And I ran a stand-up show there for like 6 years. And I remember like years ago, I had this tweet where it was like a parrot that was barking. It was the dumbest thing. And I just was like, oh, maybe that parrot is transitioning or something. And then like some like gay comics called me a whack ally. And I was like, oh, that's how little it fucking takes. And then I remember like, so every once in a while, you get shit for a joke or a whole group of people come after you. Like I remember last March, I did this like kung flu fighting video. It's like, it was silly and not particularly clever. It was a response to, remember when Gal Gadot did the Imagine There's No Heaven, and everyone sang a line, a different celebrity sang. And so I was like, oh, this is lame. This is hitting with no one. Like, and I think that for me, I've really enjoyed like watching people kind of wake up on not giving a fuck about celebrities anymore. That's been fun. And so I was like, let's do a response to that. Me and my comedian friends will each sing a line of kung fu fighting. And so I had the whole like woke Asian community come after me for that. They're like, how dare you write this song? I was like, this song has been around since the 70s. And I also did not come up with kung flu. Like that was trending anyway.
Yeah.
It's just showing me how dumb people are, how quick they are to come after you. And it's ultimately, it's not about me, or it's not about whoever's being canceled. It's something that I think more weaker folks do to feel like they have control over something in their lives. Or it's like, it's not enough to just ignore something you don't like and move on. It's like, oh no, I am in, my taste matters the most. So I get to decide for everybody, what's okay and what's not okay. So that like over time, that all started to like really piss me off.
Oh, indeed. Let me get in the super chat. Chico 199. Thank you. He said, Ya tu sabes. Chico, again, 499 said Alex Jones making the same reparations argument as HJ on the Flagrant 2 podcast. Ya tu sabes. Really? Let me find out. I've red pill Alex Jones on the reparations argument. That's very interesting. Okay, let's talk cancel culture. So you started seeing a little bit of that. How is this invading the comedy space? Is it happening?
It is, and I think it's starting to lose steam, but we do have, it's interesting because we do have folks like sort of like, is there a comedy community? Ultimately, no. I think at the end of the day, it's not really a team sport. It's kind of like every person for themselves. People will pretend that there's like a comedy community, but like people are catty. People are so jealous once someone starts to get successful and sort of like separate from the pack. And it's like, kind of who you start with. And I noticed like if I get a little bit more successful than some other people I started comedy with at the same time, like, oh, they show their true colors like really quick, especially if you have like some unpopular opinions, it's like they feel very comfortable like shitting all over you, talking shit, like, behind your back, but also tagging you. And it's like, you realize like, oh, this is more about jealousy than it is me, being problematic. So you get like, we have a couple of these like sort of comedy critics in the community. And like, one is this guy, Seth Simons. He lives in Idaho. If you know any other stand-up comics, like occasionally they'll mention him, but he'll write these like hit pieces. He was the guy who I think like helped to get, oh God, what's his name? Shane Gillis fired from SNL. Because he uncovered like an old podcast episode of his where he said chink or something, like that's why Shane got booted off SNL. Such a funny guy. So he'll write these. He wrote something in the New Republic, and he'll mention like a lot of the same comedians, like myself, anybody on Compound Media, anybody with Gas Digital Media, or like Legion of Skanks, like basically anybody who's like pushing the boundaries a little bit, or, not being safe, like, what was considered just, funny, just a few years ago. But, they'll say, oh, you're problematic, or like, if they think you're even a little bit like center right, then you're all right. And that's the thing is they'll write these pieces and they know that these are trending words right now, like all right. Whatever, like January 6th, and they'll do anything they can to tie in as many of these words at once. Like this guy Seth was actually saying that like, right-wing comedy is responsible for January 6th, like insane claims, but he's putting that in there because he knows people are clicking on stuff like that right now. And I think a lot of people are using January 6th to fit just like whatever motive, like, whatever it is they want to push, they're going to tie it with that.
Right.
And those of us who were there will say like, yeah, for most of us, it was kind of a non-event. We didn't know that there was shenanigans going on until we got back to our hotel. And even at that point, it was kind of a few.
You were there?
I was there. Yeah, I was on the outside.
You kicked in the door of the Capitol building?
No, I was outside looking for somewhere to pee for a lot of the time. And then I ended up going into one of these like construction, like, where there was a guy there that was like working on construction for the inauguration. And he was the one who told me, he's like, by the way, like, it's not going to be public. They're maybe going to sell 100 seats. And I was like, oh shit. So there I was like inside this little, like a fake, like small house, like an outside office, like office kind of thing. And I climbed because I knew, I was like, I saw people scaling the wall, but I just thought they were going to get up to just get a better picture. You know what I mean? The classic picture of people like scaling the wall. That was where I was. I think I was on the north side of the building. I forget now.
You went there for the rally?
Yeah, I went there for the rally. I went there to like really cover the event because I was there in November. And I was there in December, and I just didn't think the mainstream media was like doing it justice. And it was interesting because both in November and December, they would do like an early morning flyover at like 6 a.m. and be like, oh, look, there's 40 people here. It's a non-event. Look how there's nobody here. And I thought they're going to do the same thing with January 6th. But then, a couple people like busted in. They were like, oh, great. We'll use this. This is perfect. There's some people who think like those people were all plants, and like more and more it looks like there's evidence to support some of that, or at least some plants. And then the people that were some people that were fired up and like, oh, we're all just walking in. No one's stopping us. Cool. Like it's a field trip. But yeah, I didn't, and I know a lot of people, and I talked to a lot of weirdos. Like I was never hearing rumblings of like, we're going to bust in, like there's going to be a group that's going to enter the building. I just thought like at the time, I'm like, oh, people are climbing to the top so they can have their friends take a cool photo. Yeah. I remember like some people were climbing to the top of the scaffolding, and they did a big flag drop. They did like a big like American flag drop over the side. And I remember the construction guy was like, it's kind of windy today. He's like, if the wind catches that flag right, it's going to be like a sail, and that whole thing is going to tip over and all those people are going to fall. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
I know. And I was like, thank God it didn't happen. But yeah, it was like pretty wild. So I was in there. We were in there peeing, getting hot chocolate. We were because it was really cold that day. Like we were so lucky to find somewhere to just be indoors, to charge our phones. They were like it was like really perfect. It was like me and my friend Riss Flex, who has a YouTube channel. That's really great too. She's kind of more like research and like respected. And I'm kind of just like, I'm there to talk to the guy that's like screaming about, foreskin. Those are the people that I like to talk to at these rallies, like people with funny signs and funny costumes. And I'll get like funny little interviews. So I was there with her and I was like, there's like a tiny part of me that was like, oh, what if I climb up? But I was like, nah. So we were just hanging out. Yeah. Oh, thank God is right. Because it really looked like no big deal. Like there was no cops anywhere. It looked like a day in the park. It was like a day in Central Park. Like there's nothing around you telling you like not to do it. And you see all these people doing it and they look like they're having fun. So I can understand why people are like, sure, let's just follow the leader, And then I had friends who were on like the other side. And they're like, yeah, we saw a guy with wire clippers. We saw a guy with a sledgehammer. It's like, okay, normal people don't bring those things to a rally. Like that's definitely shenanigans.
FBI show up at your house?
No, I don't know what I have to do to get them to notice me.
More cleavage, grift.
Yeah. Oh God, can you imagine? Like, I need to raise money for my FBI funds.
I want to change gears here. I see you hanging out with a lot of porn chicks. And when I see you hang out with porn chicks, I'm like, is Chrissie a porn star? Was a porn star? And I'm just like,
thank you.
What? And I'm trying to figure out like what's the connection between you and the porn stars?
I have always been a bit infatuated with them because I've always found like a similarity, like comedians and porn stars are both sort of seen as like degenerates of society, like a lot of the same jokes, like, oh, you guys have daddy issues. It's like, oh, and like I say from my time on Craigslist, I was a sneeze away, I think, from being a sex worker myself. So I think I can understand. I think I'm also interested, like the ways in which porn stars, like they're either balancing it and they're cool and they're feeling empowered and good. And I also wonder like which ones of them, like whether they're my friends or just people I've interviewed are like actually suffering and perhaps they are not truly happy and maybe they feel stuck. But that's just like something ongoing that I always think about. The reason how I sort of got into interviewing them is when I started my show Wet Spot on Compound Media. It was like a sex dating relationship show, still is. And I just, I really wanted it to be like old school Howard Stern, where he'd have like sometimes porn stars in, sometimes like TV personalities, but there'd always be like a fun in studio game or, contest or something. Like literally on Monday, we had my friend Peyton Sinclair in, and I just like, I'm doing this like dumb announcer contest, like who's going to be the next announcer. And so one of the contests was like this girl, Peyton, like, and I didn't ask her to get naked, but I'm never going to stop someone from getting naked because it's like people like to see that. Like it's who doesn't like to see boobs? It's a crowd pleaser. So I had this inflatable pool. And so she like got in it. There's no water in it. She just put these like ducks on her. And then like the two contestants had to like fish, duckies off of her. And I don't know. It's fun. These make for memorable moments, Hotep. And I remember there was a time I had a dominatrix in. She brought like one of her slave. And I've never met a dominatrix. I've never even met like, this was a real slave person. He was like about this life. And she brought him in and like she was like, oh, wrap him in saran wrap. I don't know.
He was like her slave.
Yeah. He would like, it was like a submissive. Maybe that's like the better term for it. And she just would like tell him what to do. And I don't know. That's just like kink, right? That's the most extreme example of like a kind of a something that's happened with a guest on the show. Yeah. But usually it's just like fun stuff and maybe like they'll show their boobs or something. Like I have this one like older comedian friend, Barry Ribs, and we're always like, well, this might be the last, set of boobs he touches, and will try to like convince the girl to just like let this old guy touch her boobs. And I know as I'm explaining this, you guys are like, Chrissy sounds like a disgusting pervert. What does she do? But like, it's fun. I don't know. We have fun.
Go ahead. It's a good time to go ahead and plug your show so people know where to find the boobs at.
Yes. The Wet Spot is on Compound Media Mondays at 7:30. And my podcast, the Chrissie Mayr podcast, is everywhere: iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and those episodes go out Tuesday through Friday. So yeah, check all of that out.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? I feel like I don't know.
We're gonna come back to that. Chat, if you haven't dropped a super chat, you're grifting. You're all grifters. Here for free entertainment. Go ahead, hit the super chat button, drop some donations in here. Also, if you got a question, go ahead and do that. Now, Chrissy, how do you feel about this? I say we need to ban porn culturally.
Ooh.
How does that make you feel when you do you take that offense to that? Do you think there's some validity to that, or do you like shut up, Hotep?
I completely understand it, because the more conservative people I talk to, like I talked to this very smart young man a few weeks ago when I was in Texas, John Doyle, and he just did this long video about how like porn is like really damaging, especially for like men, and it like kind of rewires your brain in a while. He explained it a lot more eloquently, but like it fucks with your like whatever dopamine centers, and kind of like really affects the way that you can have relationships, and basically like kind of trains you to, I don't know. I never looked at it that way, because again, I kind of came from the programming of like, what, you should never shame a porn star or people who watch porn. And there's some people who love porn. They'll watch it with their significant other. And like, if that's, fun for you, great. But I, like anything else, like drugs or alcohol, like, yeah, if you take it to excess, if you're somebody who can't, like, I don't have it every once in a while, or if you're like doing it if you're like watching it every day and it's preventing you from like having a good relationship, then like, yeah, I would say you're probably somebody who needs to like turn down.
Interesting. I don't know. I just feel like it's there's several countries who have banned it, right? And they're like, this is just, demoralizing to the nation of people. You don't find that it could be demoralizing, or do you think it serves its purpose in society?
I think it definitely can be both. I absolutely see both sides of it. Like I can understand, like it's so easy, like just as a girl, like if you need rent money, like I know I have a girlfriend who made $1,000 off of a picture of her butthole on OnlyFans. Like, tell me that's not tempting when rent is due and you're like, I have a perfectly good butthole over here, underutilized. I can understand like the temptation of like that quick buck, and I've been like very close to it many times, but I think at this point I'm like, no, I think my best like butthole photo years are probably behind me, which is good. But like,
so there's no Chrissie Mayr OnlyFans account coming?
No, if I do start one, it would just be like comedy and like maybe tame photos. I can understand how it can be demoralizing though. I totally do, because it's just like I think it's a very small percentage of girls who can work in that industry and not feel like it's so easy to feel like devalued and like nobody cares about you, because I'll see it happen. Like I have girlfriends who are like, yeah, I can't tweet about my opinions at all, because people are kind of like, they'll say like they lose followers or they lose like patrons, or if they like talk about their opinions, like they kind of pigeonhole themselves into being only seen this one way. And I can't imagine how bad that feels. And I don't know, like, how do you feel like as a man? Like, and maybe you're not like the best example, but like, do you feel like the typical guy, it's like, oh, they have their sort of like sex object. They want to see you one way, but then like, that's the thing. If you were like jerking off to some girl that you thought was really hot, but then you're like, oh, she voted for Biden, that kind of ruins it. I don't know. Like, I think.
Nah, like, I don't Like I got this running joke where I say I prefer liberal women over conservative women.
Oh,
yeah? Yeah, I feel like, it's like at least they care. At least there's a heart there, right? And
You
a
think
lot of them,
conservative women are heartless?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
How
Yeah, I
so?
like feminine women. And liberal women are mostly like, "Oh my God, what went wrong? We have to do something about this." And it's just like, "All right, here, I can like turn you into not being a socialist, and you can become a Hotep, and we can like fix you, right?" And I think that's like a manly thing to do, like where you want to just like help a woman, right? So I look at conservative women as just being like, "Oh, you're already complete, next."
Oh, so you think of
No.
conservative women as sort of like fixed already, like their mind is right, like you like a fixer upper, you like a project,
not like a project. Yeah, maybe because I'm in business development and marketing, and I love startups. I look at people like startups. I look at like my kids; they're like my little startups, right? So I just like making things better. When I see a finished product, like when I was marketing, I never wanted to work for Fortune 500 company because I'm like, where's the challenge in that? You're already a Fortune 500 company. I like a challenge. You know what I mean? And conservative women aren't really a challenge. It's just like, what are we going to talk about here, right? Like,
see, like a little debate. Like, explain to me why you feel this way, and then you can kind of see. You explain to them, and then you see this moment of like, oh God, I was wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of like, I love AOC. I watch
really?
Yeah, that's my girl. I love
I think
AOC.
she's very effective. I think she is very good at like what she's supposed to be doing and like who she's supposed to be reaching. It's hard to know who the real person is, though.
I just watch her stuff on mute. Can't really like take her too serious. I like the boomer chick, Nico, but
Nico Lula, what's her name?
Yeah, Nico Lowell or something like that.
Nico
She's
Lowell,
like,
yeah, okay, boomer, right.
Yeah,
she's the Bernie shirt.
Yeah, the Bernie chick. Yeah, I'm not one of those people like, your politics is gonna make me like you less. I think it's more like with the hip hop artists, like I was listening to the new Pharoah Monch album, or I tried to, and I turned it on, and in like the first 30 seconds, he was on some anti-Trump shit. I'm like, all right, I can't listen to this. Because I expect more from men, especially black men. I expect them to be more thinking and forward thinking and kind of understanding our world here. And it's just like, yo, you acting like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, this man can't harm us, right? And then it's like, what's the alternative? Biden? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I got a fiance, so it's not like I'm available or anything like that. But if I was in the market, I wouldn't let that affect me.
Was your fiance a project? That sounds bad. I didn't mean like that. Like, did she feel like there was a point where like you helped each other, or like, have her views changed since meeting you? How could they not?
Yeah. She was definitely a project. But she's mostly apolitical. Where, on something she's on one way, another way, and another thing she's on another way. But she's also like, what the fuck is this trans shit? And like sometimes she'll stop and like ask me, what is this? What's going on? I'm like, see, I told you. That's the left.
Yeah, I think Candace Owens had a really good point. I was listening to a video of hers today. Like, she's like, I am fine with it. Like, I will call you Tiffany. I will call it, but I'm not going to call you she and her. Like, if you're a man who's transitioning to female or just want to be called that, she's like, because then that forces me to change like my interpretation of words and my reality. Like, I will call you whatever you want, but like, don't ask me to pretend I don't know the meaning of words, which I thought was a really interesting point.
I used to have this malfunction. Maybe you can help me out. Where I was like, a woman exposes her body. I'm at the same time turned on and disgusted.
Really?
Yeah, because like obviously physically, like she's showing her body. I'm a man. I like women. But then it's just like, I'm like, oh, you had to lower yourself to show your boobs on the internet, right? This was something I was doing. Now I'm somewhere like, I really don't give a fuck. You covered up? Cool. You're not covered up? Cool too. But I don't know what that was.
Sounds like your brain and your penis are fighting each other. They're at opposite sides of your body. They're not connected. They're kind of doing their own thing. Your brain is like, come on, girl. Like you don't need to do that. Like, I don't know, tell a joke. And your penis is like, what are you doing? Stop it. She's great. She's perfect the way God made her. Let her show it off.
Yeah. But I mean, like, look at how, I mean, back in the day, you know, a woman showed her arm and it was just like, oh my God, what a whore.
Oh yeah, an ankle. Like back in the day, right? Like the 50s, if you just were like wore sort of like look at like Marilyn Monroe, like she wore just kind of form-fitting clothes and like dude, you know, she probably just tripping over boners right and left.
Mm-hmm. And I also predicted that the thong would become normalized on the beach. I know Europeans beat us to that, but a few years back, as I started looking at the progression, because I saw how women were dressing, and I'm like, the dresses women wear today was how prostitutes dressed back in the 80s and the 90s.
Oh wow, yes, yeah, like really, like just barely covering your coochie,
Yeah,
like or a tube or like a tube dress, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame Instagram for that. Yeah, because if you're just seeing like, oh, this is how girls dress, like this is normal, this is sexy, this is what get likes. So I'm gonna get likes out in the real world for it, and it's like it normalizes it. It's not so like scandalizing anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like being in your underwear. It's like normal now. Whereas back in the day, it was just like, you know, you kind of had to, you know, pretend you liked her for a little while for her to send you a little something, you know. And now it's just like, oh, it's just everywhere on the internet. You know, you open up your Instagram, it's like, pow. Here's my booty, you know.
It kind of sounds like you're saying like, like gals are like giving too much away, you know, and maybe that makes men like value it less.
Yeah. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong.
What does that lead us to in dating in the future? I feel like in the future, women just gonna be walking around ass naked. I
think if women want to walk around like scantily clad, like, and they really want to, great. I think people should like dress how they dress, right? Like certain porn stars or certain girls that are like, they love to do, I don't know, 3-ways or whatever it is. Like they're going to gravitate to a man who's also kind of open, like, you know, into that like open sexuality lifestyle. Right. And those people should find each other. Right. I just don't think what hurts my feelings is like, all women feeling that they need to act that way and be that way, if deep down it's like hurting their soul and it goes against like what they really are comfortable with. And then, you know, I think like the chicks that are more conservative should not have to feel pressured to, you know, dress like kind of sluttier than they want.
I'm seeing with conservative girls are being pressured into covering up, right? So
okay,
I'm, and that's where I'm like, why are y'all acting like that? You know, so it's like I'm conflicted myself. Whereas before I was like, they should be covering up. I'm conflicted of like, is it a man's place to tell a woman to cover up, right? Because
you don't want to hear it. You know, it's like, because then you feel like judged. It's like, it almost feels like your dad coming at you, like, put on a sweater. Damn it, Charlene, you're looking like a hussy. Like, you don't want to feel like judged. You should feel like you want to express yourself. I think there's a way to do it. I think like there was a time where I really wanted to join OnlyFans again because I wanted that quick butthole money. And my boyfriend was like, he explained it to me in a way that it was like, made me felt like he was being like protective and caring about me. Like ultimately it was a way that made me feel like loved. Cause it definitely dumped you. I didn't do it. I never did it.
I would have dumped you just for thinking about it.
I needed money. I just was like, sometimes bills come up. But yeah, the point is like, if you're a guy who wants, you know, your girlfriend to like quit OnlyFans or to cover up more, like I think there's a way to do it that is doing it through love than by judgment. And because then you still have to, if you make her feel judged, you still have to be around this girl that you've made feel judged. So then you got to kind of mend that somehow. But if you can just come to the person with love, like, hey, like, I just like love what we have. And I almost like, I don't want just anyone to be able to see your butthole. I don't know. There's a way to do it.
Let me read some super chats to people stop the grifting. Wasted Talent Podcast, great interview. Salute to both of you.
I love him.
That's the homie right there. You did an interview with him, right?
Yes, he's so great. I really enjoyed doing his pod.
Yeah, Wasted Talent podcast. Make sure y'all go listen to that. Booty hole pick equals capitalism.
Mm.
Darling D. Alisa say great conversation, honest and unfiltered. Thank you. Spanky DePenky that I'm not a grifter. I'm just a freeloader. Yeah, I just see conservative women. Right. So we talk about this regression of the clothing, right? And it went from, don't show this to like, okay, now it's okay to show cleavage, right? So even in the conservative movement, I've seen women post a picture where, there might be a little bit of cleavage showing. And then dudes hop in like, oh my God, you're a whore. Is that what you're doing for money now? Is, you're grifting using your boobs? And in my head, I'm just like, damn, she can't even show a little titty to get a couple of coins out here. Like, it's not like she's butt ass naked on OnlyFans, right?
Yeah, it's almost harder, I think, to be like a Kayla McInerney. I'm not saying her name right, but like she probably could never unleash her vacation photos on IG. Like it's like the bar is set, I think, so high for conservative women because once they even show a little, it's like, what's happening to you? You get all this judgment. You get all the because then you have like, that's where the religious people are too. And it's like, I think the judgment is harsher because the culture defaults to be more accepting of like slut life as a whole. Yeah.
I think that's how you get a woman's suffrage movement. I think that's how you get feminism, by men being so antagonistic. It makes women want to rebel. It's like the old thing, what you don't let your kids do is exactly what they want to do. Right?
Yeah. My parents never let me have anal sex as a kid. So it's just like, let me at it.
Oh my fucking God.
No, you're so right. Because if you have guys being like, cover up, like, then you're like, oh, it's like, you don't want to make a girl feel like you're their dad,
Right. And how has dating changed, right? Because, back in my day, you had to have the courage to walk up to a girl and say hi. And, you got a number and you had to spend time talking on the phone. And now it's like, feel bad for some of these guys out here, man, because a woman gets to select her DNA type right from her phone. And even the average looking chicks won't even give guys the time of day because, like I say, their attention cup has already been filled. Right. So, they post a picture and they get the validation. Whereas before, if a woman wanted validation, she had to actually leave the house.
True. It's like there's degrees to it too, because like, let's say the top of the line guy, like richest, best looking guy. And I think I was listening to Mike Cernovich did a good talk. It might've been with Tim Pool where he was talking about this, like the whatever top internet dating guy, rich, good looking, right? They'll be talking to like 5 to 10 girls. So it's almost like they're like scooping up the good looking women, but they're also scooping up a lot of average women too. And then where does that leave the next tier of guys? Like, well, then they've got sort of like less to pick from. It's like their ultimate conclusion was like that dudes, like good looking guys with great jobs, ultimately clean up the most from online dating because they're able to just like to keep so many women like kind of waiting. And like, that's how it is. Cause you're like, well, this is online dating. As a woman, like you're just so used to like hot and cold. Like one day a guy is so into you, the next day they've completely flaked. And then you just get like emotionally so tired of that. Like every serious boyfriend I've had, I've actually met in person, which is like wild considering, the 2000s, but
yeah,
it's hard. I think it's hard for everybody. And I think there's this feeling that like you have to pretend to be something you're not. Like I'm sure like guys are like, well, I got to get a picture of me next to a tiger and I got to get one of me holding a gun somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote the book, Unbreakable Rules of Masculinity, available on briansharp.co. Get that in the link below because I really want to just, help guys out. But man, the Instagram, the social media really changed the game out here. Which is, even more reason why guys got to get their masculinity in check. Are there women out there that are not on Instagram? Attractive women. Have you ever in your life seen an attractive woman that's not on Instagram or not on social media?
I have not.
doesn't even
I
sound
have
normal.
not, unless there's like some banging Amish chick somewhere out there that is just just depriving the world of like her Amish titties. I'm sure it exists. I'm sure like, yeah, there's maybe a couple Mormons out there. Imagine like you're a super fucking hot Amish chick and you don't even know. And then you do Rumspriga and you just like, yeah, you start an Instagram account. You post like a picture of your foot. You just get like your DMs are flooded. And you're like, I'm never going back. You've got to pick the corn yourself, guys. This is.
Oh my God. I think that's why a lot of these, civilizations like the Amish keep their women away from this modern technology. Because, you might be a hot Amish chick and, you get you an Instagram account. She going to be gone.
But maybe the hot Amish chick like meets a Amish guy and like really feels valued. And it's like, you don't have to go through the whole like rat race of like hookup culture. And then you feel bad and you feel like devalued. And it's like, by the time that's what blows for women is like, we're on a time crunch if you want to have kids.
Yeah.
It's like, there's so much expected of women. Like you have to have your shit together and at such an early age if you want to like have a certain amount of kids before you're considered like a geriatric pregnancy or something, which is tough because like men generally don't really get there until like they have kind of all the time in the world, it seems. I mean, of course it's very hard for men too, especially like growing up in this culture of like, oh, like the future is female, like men are shit, the patriarchy. Like it's definitely very hard for men too, which is why like the book that you wrote, it's like so necessary, but it's harder in different ways. Like women, it's like, oh shit, like I have to get my shit together, get my job right. Or you have to be such a good gold digger and like really lock that down, but maybe always be afraid that somebody like younger and hotter will come along. So it's like, but if you have your own career, then that takes away from like maybe having kids at the time that you want. It's really fucking tricky.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a trick question. Can a man tell his woman about his emotions and how he feels?
Yes, of course he should, because if he doesn't, it's going to come out some way or another. It's like it either comes out and I'm somebody who spent years like stifling my feelings and it wouldn't come out until I just got really, really pissed. And then it would all come out. Like I'm talking 5 years would come out.
Come on, man.
Once. That's too much.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah. Like with dudes, if you're not like, it's like a pressure valve release, right? Like if you're not letting it out a little bit of time, like it's going to bubble up and then it comes out either in the form of anger, in the form of like maybe you're punching a wall, or like it comes in the form of like disease, right? You hold your emotions down and then it manifests in some kind of like chronic, maybe illness. So like, of course, talk about your feelings. Nobody, I mean, whether you're a man or woman, you don't want to hear your significant other just like bitch about the same thing like all the time. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, definitely talk about your feelings because we want to help you get through it.
Gentlemen, do not listen to Chrissie.
What? Come on.
You do not tell a woman your emotions.
Yes, you do.
It's a no-go.
Why not?
It turns her off. It dries up the coochie.
I don't know. That doesn't happen to me. You know what dries up my coochie? Like not feeling desired. Like when the sort of seduction stops, like when like the effort put forth to like have me be impressed by you. And like if you stop showing like I don't know, that's what does it to me. I don't care about like, yeah, let's talk about how WandaVision made us both cry. I don't know. Like, I don't mind that. Where are you supposed to put your feelings then? Just like
the punching bag, the gym, in the shower, in the mirror. Never tell a woman your feelings. That's a female luxury.
That sucks though. I mean, like you guys shouldn't be burdened with that. You know, it's because my dad never ever talked to my mom about his feelings ever. But like as a kid, I could tell that they were not healthy. Like they would be cutting each other. They'd be sarcastic to one another, like passive aggressive. Like my mom did not bring my dad up in the ways that men need to be like brought up and made to feel like good and manly and like they're taking care of shit and protecting or whatever. And then my dad was not making my mom feel like good in the ways a woman likes to feel good, like wasn't making her feel like desired or like she was cute still or it was like very shitty. And so yeah, I mean, I would hear them fight about money. That's it. But I would never hear them talking about their feelings. And then I remember a few years ago, like my dad was driving me back from my brother's wedding. This was maybe like 5 years ago. And like, I knew that he didn't like the woman that my brother married because she was overweight, big fucking deal. But it's like, also my brother is overweight. Like, it's not like it was this girl or Heidi Klum, you know, like that's what I'll never understand. But my dad's German and they're very like superficial. But anyway, so as he's driving me back to my apartment, he basically like, you know, he's like venting and talking. And of course I'm an adult talking to my adult dad. We're all adults, but like there's certain things you don't tell your kids. And like in that night, he basically like vented to me that he and my mom had not been physical in like 20 years. And like hadn't like that was too much detail. It's like, you don't need to tell like your daughter the last time you had sex with her mom was, and it just was like, ugh. So, and that's the thing is like, I sometimes have this effect on people. Definitely, you know, like my parents and my sister too, like you just make them feel so comfortable and then they talk. And then, cause they're not talking to anybody else about these feelings. And then bloop, before you know it, you're telling your daughter that you haven't had sex with her mom in 20 years. And it's like, ugh, I don't need to hear that. That should have gone somewhere else, like to a dude friend, or I mean, he never would have seen a therapist, but
those are the exact problems I tackle in my book to mitigate those problems and to build a better relationship with women and all of that stuff. So you never have to tell her your emotions. There's a way to convey that message without using words.
How?
It's in my book.
Oh man. What a cliffhanger.
I mean, it's like, you know, when somebody's displeased with something you do, right? You just give them a look, right? Or, for example, let's say your woman says something really snooty towards you or really catty, right? You got to put the mirror up in front of her, you know? So, for example, I might say, oh, wow, this is interesting how my lady speaks to me, right? Like, that's how I would respond to it.
You would actually say that? Okay.
I was like, oh, wow, this is... Can you say that again? I'd ask her, say that again. I want to get it. And I'd imitate her. Like, I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting. But I wouldn't allow myself to be upset by it, right? I would just hold the mirror up and she'd realize like, oh shit, I do sound crazy. And then,
that's what the best relationship, well, every relationship is a mirror, but like the best relationships will show you where you can improve.
Right. Absolutely. So it's about just putting that mirror up in front of people and letting them see who they are, and then they tend to get better from there. But you can't allow a woman to knock you off your square.
How can a woman put a mirror up for a man?
I don't know. I can't help women.
That's good. Hey, that's good. At least you're not trying to be like the Chinese restaurant that also does pizza. Like if they think it's good to just like stick to men, like stick to the one.
Yeah, you gonna have to help the ladies. I can't help.
All right.
Yeah. I just help guys.
Yeah.
Let me read some super chats real quick. Take L's says dating is dating for my generation is over. The whole game is out of balance. Alawi S, my buddy was one of those top 10% guys on Tinder. He said a lot of women he met had boyfriends and husbands. I'm sure you guys are doing the same.
Whoa.
Wow. Amazing. Did you just accuse me of being on Tinder? I'm not on Tinder. I don't do dating apps. In fact, being Hotep Jesus, panties are thrown at me. I don't have to go looking. So Couch Lance said Instagram models belong in the kitchen. Talk to him, SoCal. Do you cook, Chrissy?
I'm able to cook. Is it good? I don't know. I could definitely spend more time. Where I thrive is baking, for sure. I could make a sick apple pie. I could make a really good blueberry pie. Like when me and my boyfriend started dating, he started really getting into cooking. So thank God, because If he didn't, I would have had to step it up.
Is he younger or older?
He's 2 years younger, like a year and a half. Yeah.
Oh, you got a younger guy.
Mm-hmm. Rare. Yep.
Uh-oh. Does that help the relationship, you think?
No, like we feel like the same age. And in fact, like he has a 10-year-old son. So sometimes in some ways it feels like he's older, but then in other ways it feels like I'm older. So like it's in some ways it definitely, I feel like more the adulty one. So, but like the best, most of the time we feel like the same age and like, just like good friends helping each other out.
My homie, Myron from Fresh and Fit podcast said that if a woman flakes on a date, you should punish her, right?
Like that dick. Oh.
He's basically saying like, you have to let her know, like, look, this is some bullshit. This won't be tolerated. Next time we go out, you're paying, like shit like that.
No,
that's not the right response.
Like if a guy flaked on me on a date, I would go stone cold Steve Austin, but that's just me. Like I would overcorrect. I would be overly cold. I would be even harder to get if he were to try to like pursue and be like, I just kind of wait and see how sorry they are. If they flake and they're not trying to get, I'll just be like, okay. And then I'll see what they do. And if they don't try to get back to it, then that they're a true flake. But if they flake and then they're like, oh my God, profusely apologizing. Here's what happened. Can I please make it up to you? I'd be like, yes, you can. Get down there. No, I would, I think I would, maybe this is just like a very female trait. Like I just sort of like wait and see like what they present, and I let that reflect how they feel about me. I'm not about like, revenge. Don't make somebody pay like off the bat. Like you're trying to figure out who this person is. And if this person, they go to like revenge when they get upset, like that's not healthy. That's not great.
A man tells you for the first date, we're going Dutch. How do you feel? Are you canceling the date? Are you paying your half or?
I mean, ideally I would want the guy to pay for the first date. Cause after that, like I will offer to pay like every other time. And then I'll naturally pick up things. I always like, not that I keep a tab, but like, I think I keep pretty good track of like what each person like pays for. And then I know some guys who are like months and years into their relationships and they're still paying for everything. So I think a lot of it depends on like each of your salaries,
What's your zodiac sun sign?
Scorpio.
Oh Lord Jesus.
What are you?
I'm a Libra.
Oh, okay. So you care about Libras care about fairness and justice, but like Libra men are sensitive in like the best way. Like you're feeling, you're not like a cold asshole.
Yeah. Sounds pretty accurate.
There's more to it. Of course, like, your moon sign and your rising are pretty vital too.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you know all your chart things? Your placements?
Moon is in Scorpio.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mars is in Scorpio. Moon is in fucking Cancer, I think, or some shit like that. I just know my Mars is in Scorpio, and I have something else in Scorpio. Yeah. So
that's
like,
cool. Yeah, I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not date you.
If I let myself be the most like low vibration version of myself, like lowest of evolved, like I know like anytime you meet a Scorpio woman who's like not on their best self, like they're big into revenge, like they're big into vindictiveness and manipulative. Whereas like if you're trying to be your best self, like that kind of turns into like being perceptive and maybe a little bit of like a mind reader.
I feel like Scorpio women like to hunt for their men and don't like to be chased.
Ooh, I love being chased, but I also had that whole hunt phase. So
might be something there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Chrissie, it was a wonderful conversation. Is there anything else on your mind you'd like to talk about? Because I have one more question before we go.
Oh, I'm very interested in your book. I think it's so fascinating. Like this kind of like new generation ish of like dating advice for men. It's like it's so different, and it has to be so different than the past because it's like, remember the whole trend of like the pickup artist guys, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a numbers game, and then it's like, then you meet actual women, and you're like, no, they're just people, like,
Right.
and that's what it is. It's like you got to bring your best self to try to meet another person. It's like you got to work on your spiritual, physical, mental health. And that's tricky. And people say, oh, you don't meet another person until you have all your shit together. It's like, well, that's going to take a while. Like, that's not really feasible either. Like, be continually working on all aspects of yourself while looking for somebody else who's also trying to improve themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Hell yeah. I always practice inbound marketing. So I tried to figure out how could I make the woman come to me? Because I always felt like I had the upper hand if I did that.
Oh, like just being magnetic
Yeah.
instead of pursuer.
Correct. Yeah. And then you have to deal with rejection.
But what if the type of woman you want is not coming to you?
Then you do magic.
I do have then you just get your crystals out, put them in the sun.
like seriously, it's like been a lot of women that I've wanted to date. I wouldn't say a lot, but there's been women I've wanted to date, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna have her. In like 2 years, she pops into my life. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, so you manifest, yeah.
Manifest, yeah, like the law of attraction type thing. So I practice a bit of that. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, I was the guy that my friends would push, like, go talk to those group of girls over there. Tell them to come over here. Like, I was that guy, right? Like, I remember one
You're
time.
like the hype man for the group. Yeah, because you were like the chum. They would throw you out. You're chumming the water. You're like this fun, talkative guy. And then you like bring them all back.
Yeah, and I'd entertain everybody and whatnot. Like, one time we were at Seaside, and MTV had the Seaside thing or whatever, and Clue was down there with Lala. And the homies were like, yo, it's Clue and Lala. Tell them you want to be on MTV. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, go do it. Don't you want to be on TV? I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. So I was just like that outgoing, daring person who would do shit like that. So I was always the one that had to go pick up the girls for the guys and shit like that. But like if I was like really interested in a girl, I get like real shy and shit like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. That's me too. Yeah. Because I just can't handle the rejection. Yeah. Like all of my dating, relationships were people who came to me. And then you start thinking like, oh, what would it look like if I was going for the people I wanted? And then that starts to fuck you up. But I do think things happen for a reason. And people like are attracted to you because like you're at that stage of your life where this is a good match and you're ready for this kind of a person.
Yeah. I got advice from a pimp once. I met a pimp and I just wanted to see what do they think? So I put his advice in my book. And it kind of confirmed some things for me.
Oh yeah.
But it kind of confirms just about like women and human nature.
Did he confirm that it ain't easy? Pimping?
I think just watching his lifestyle, I could kind of see that.
You're like, that ain't easy.
Yeah, because he was in and out of jail and, losing girls and all this type of shit. But he wasn't the type of pimp that like abused women and shit like that. He was kind of like a cool kind of like, hey, like we're going to come out here, we're going to get some money, we're going to go to Miami and get some money, you know what I mean, type of dude. And like chicks just chose him because he was just fucking cool as shit. But yeah, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now, as a marketer, we do a lot of market research to make better products. So we ask people what they like about products and what they don't, right? So you invited me to be on your podcast. I came across your radar, and I'm wondering why you wanted to speak to me out of, the millions of people that you could have spoken to. Why did you want to have a conversation with Hotep Jesus? Why did you want to come on my platform today? Like, what is it that you like about Hotep Jesus so I can refine that?
Because you answered my DM. No, I thought you were so smart and so different. And like, anytime you encounter like a voice that's like, you're really sure of yourself and you're sure of your opinions. And especially if it's a little bit different than the mainstream. And especially if your voice is different than kind of like what a lot of us are used to being fed. That always intrigues me.
Hmm. Okay. Segue question. Who should I have on my show next?
Ooh, okay. Wow, there's so many.
There's so many. Like, and the way I am, I think I can succinctly be described as enigmatic. So I look for enigmatic people too. Somebody who
Yes.
is like super intelligent, is gonna come unique from left field and be entertaining at the same time. Is there anybody on your radar that's like, hey, they're Hotep Jesus, like, and they're just like, wow.
Okay. Like I'm just thinking of who really good conversations I've had with recently. Like Eric D. July was really
I
great.
had him on. That's the homie right there.
Yeah, he's like so smart. It's like so cool. We're talking about like he's like such a comic book nerd, but I always love meeting people who are so into something that I'm not into, and I feel like I can learn from
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like a whole world, And anytime someone's like fired up and passionate about it. But as far as like comedians, like
Or anybody.
definitely okay. Like I know, like Louis J. Gomez is great. Aaron Berg is really great. He's like, I think he's one of the comics that's like kind of leading the charge on like anti-woke comedy and like not apologizing for just being funny.
What's his name?
Aaron Berg.
Okay.
Berg.
Okay, I see him.
Yeah,
Got
and
muscles.
Yes, I think he used to be a stripper.
Oh,
He's from
okay.
Canada, but like
Gotcha.
now he's just a comedian.
Aaron Burr Comedy. I see him here on Instagram.
Yeah, he's really great.
Cool.
He has a show on Compound Media as well.
Mm-hmm. How you like Michael Malice?
I love Michael Malice. Yeah, he's so great. Like I met him through Compound as well.
Yeah.
He's one of my all-time favorites. Like I don't know. He feels like I don't know. I was gonna say he's like a wise dad almost, but he's probably only like just a couple of years older than me. Just like so smart and like actually brave, and he's so funny without like he's not a comedian, but his and he has just such honest takes. Like he'll just be like, oh, like the left, like they want you dead, but they'll settle for your submission. Like that really has stuck with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Predictions on 2024 elections.
2024.
Who's gonna dethrone Kamala Harris?
Oh, okay.
You got any predictions on
see...
if Biden's gonna make it through these next 4 years?
I don't think he's gonna make it through. But again, this has been one long weekend at Bernie's situation. They're just cutting him off more. They're just gonna put a lid on it like earlier and earlier, just keep him from talking to people. And even if he were to like fall down somewhere, I bet they've got clones ready to go. I bet they've got like body doubles just like on ice. They got to thaw one out. All right, thaw out Biden 2.0. We got to bring him out like this, For sure there's clones. For sure the media is going to like just treat him with kid gloves and cover for him every step of the way. And it's just like, and I don't know if this is just part of getting older or just like, I'm just so disgusted by like all these politicians, but I do have hope for the future, like that, who is like the governor of South Dakota. And you also just don't know who's going to run. It's like people say, oh, Candace Owens would be great. And you just don't know who's going to be interested. Yeah, I think I would give Biden. I think will still stay in office, but again, they'll have doubles, and they'll have someone will have a hand up his back telling him what to do with the puppet situation.
Yeah, I've seen that. It seems like they make him dump some Adderall and then stuff wears out after a while, and then he's like stuttering and shit like that.
Which is bad. An old man should. I used to be on Adderall. Like old people should not be on Adderall because it just leaves you thirsty and confused after a few hours. Yeah,
I love Adderall. Anyway, haven't had some in a while. If you got to connect, but yeah, I think this is the first time since Woodrow Wilson we've had a puppet that hasn't even been present. And it's basically just taking orders from somebody else.
Oof, yeah. It's really kind of sad to see, and imagine how much we're not seeing. Yeah. It's really creepy in some ways because it's like, all right, you guys put this guy here,
so you guys can just like control things. Because the other day he was like on some, doing some whatever. He's like, whatever you say, Nancy, whatever you need me to do, Nancy. And I'm just like, yo, he's really got like a handler.
Yeah.
And he's
He
just like,
he has to yes everybody around him, when usually it's like the other way around. Everyone has to like yes the president. Like they're afraid of making him pissed, and he's just like walking around like afraid of whose shoes he's gonna step on.
right, yeah.
Wild.
We got like a real like puppet, like it's really weird. It's really weird, and I think with the weird part is how silent people are about this. Like the only people talking about
it's eerie.
It's very eerie. Like, I know y'all see this decrepit man up here not making no decisions, and y'all feel cool with this shit. Nobody's gonna say anything.
Yeah, it's like your precious $15 an hour is not happening. Like the minimum wage is not happening. Like the things that he ran on are not happening. Like you got tricked again,
Right. They got the kids in cages again, or in containers now, I guess.
Box type devices with holes. Yes, it's all.
I saw Saki today. They asked her about, there's been triple amount of people captured at the border. And she was like, I can't confirm those numbers. DHS runs that. And I'm just like,
how convenient. Yeah.
Like y'all didn't have that energy for Trump when, Trump was running the border, but he's done triple what Trump did. And like people are just silent. And it's just like, are we surrounded by a bunch of critical bigots? Because that's dangerous for our country.
It's so sad. It's like, are you happy? Are you happy with all this just so that your team could win, your side could win? Like the guy you hated is out. Like, are you happy now? Like, is this honestly, look at your life? Is it much better?
Yeah.
It's like you just have more expensive gas now.
Because we're supposed to keep the government officials in check. And it seems like we're not doing that because Orange Man Bad is gone. And people don't want to.
The people that are trying to do it are being censored, or being purged.
Right.
And then it's almost like, yeah, big tech is censoring them. And then the people that are like kind of supposed to be on our level are censoring us, are coming after us, are like labeling us like Nazis. It's like we're self-censoring from inside the fucking bubble.
Yeah. Like Gina Carano, she used that Nazi reference. But the left always uses the Nazi reference, and then she didn't get the same treatment back.
Yeah.
So she got canceled.
But I think people are becoming like braver. I think it's like, I really do feel hopeful. I think there has been a movement. Like, I think definitely being around, like actually going to like MAGA rallies and learning like, oh, well, these people are like not what I expected. Like they really do, like meeting people who really fucking love this country and are not going to like go down without a fight has actually like given me strength. And it's like, okay, like they're not the most vocal on social media, but there really are a lot of people out there who are not just going to like hand the country over,
Do you think Hotep Jesus would be as popular if he wasn't black? I don't think so.
No, probably not. You'd have to be called something else.
I'd have to be something else, right?
Yeah. I think if you were like white, or even if you were Chinese, you'd be very successful. I think like,
if I was white, I'd be like a white nationalist, right? Be like alt-right.
Maybe you'd be alt-white. You'd be maybe like, maybe you'd be a Proud Boy. Maybe you'd be like along the lines of a Michael Malice. I think in whatever form that you were in, you would make a difference and you'd make an impact.
Yeah.
Because you're special. Yeah.
I think I get away with a lot of the shit just because I'm black.
Well, that's the thing, is like we all have a superpower. We all like get away with something because of who we are. So it's just, how do you use that for the most good?
A man doesn't have the luxury to show his emotions, and that's his fate, right? That's his weakness. But at least he doesn't have to bleed once a month.
True. That's a pain. And then you attract all those bears and you're like, ugh, again.
Bears.
Get out of here, bears.
But that's a trade-off, right? You
don't have to give birth.
We don't have to give birth, right? Yeah. And we're not burdened by emotions either.
True. It is totally a burden because like like women can totally like overanalyze and harp on stuff and like weigh us down in ways like it doesn't have to, you know, like we'll carry it around. Like we could just put it down. Like sometimes guys are just better at like, let me just put it down for now and focus on this task. And it's like, I can't work. I'm still thinking about I fucking my kid fell down the stairs and I just laughed. I don't know. Why that's the first thing I thought of. But
what do you tell people on how to fight this cancel culture?
You can't apologize. You cannot, especially like not for a joke, not for something that was not ill intended. You can never apologize because it's never enough. It'll never stop the whatever, the woke police, whoever, losers of the internet. Like they just want to see you never create again. They want to take away your life force. It's not about like, oh, it's not about this one joke or the fact that you said chink or like whatever it is. It's like, they just want you gone because I think what is so threatening to see is like somebody not behaving, somebody not obeying, somebody being strong, really like having a sense of humor, having a strong mind is like threatening to people who just like follow the leader and then they watch TV and they go to sleep, they go to work. It's like, it's hard to like lead an ambitious life that makes a difference. You know, it's much easier to fall in line and be a consumer. So I think when they see examples of people like not doing what's expected of them, I think it challenges them. It makes them go, oh shit, am I living my fullest life? Am I like censoring myself? Am I stifling myself? Do I have some like genius within me that's dormant? So I think it's like people are threatened by, you know, creativity, bravery. So it's not about apologizing. It's about like you are triggering like weaker people. So dimming your light, bringing yourself down doesn't uplift these folks. Like these folks have to find a way to uplift themselves, but like turning your light down doesn't fix them. You're just, you know, fucking yourself, or you're just turning your light down for no reason.
Yeah. Cannon Hotep, what up, homie? He said, I think we're going to see less and less of Joe in the media. They got to string him out as long as possible. Yeah. Strange times we're in. Very, very strange times.
Yeah. I thought by now I'd have to break into like emergency food. You know, remember when people were like, you don't know what's going to happen. Get rice and flashlights, you know. I had friends who were like, I'm moving to the woods after January 20th. They're like, I'm out of here. Yeah. I'm going to get a log cabin. No, it's good that that's not really happening.
It's like the most we have to worry about is like some liberal getting upset about our social media account and then getting us fired or something like that, right? Yeah.
And I think, you know, the right people are figuring out who's going to be running next. And I think it's just up to us, just like be as smart as we can and know what you value. And it's like, it's not just about who runs for president, right? It's like the other little local positions.
I think that's where the right slacks off. They don't spend enough time talking about what they value. They spend so much time reacting to what's going on with the left.
Yeah. And I sometimes wonder if the left just like does that on purpose, like to trigger the right. Like, you'll see some crazy, like just today at dinner, like my boyfriend's mom was looking at something. She was like, oh my God, look at this. And it was like this trans woman or man talking about how like little girls can be kinky. Like it was an outrageous claim.
Oh, I saw that.
And I was like, I feel they just put this stuff out there to trigger us. It's like, and there are definitely the ways in which like the right, like triggers the left or whatever. But some of these things you just got to be like, oh, okay, come on. This is like, they're just poking the beehive. Like, is it real? Other than this one image, is this really like a real threat, you know?
Strange times. Chrissie, it was wonderful having you. It was wonderful getting me out of my rut. I got to thank you.
You were in a rut?
I just wasn't motivated to do this.
You know what? To be honest, I was very tired too because I ate a lot of pasta before this podcast. I felt sleepy, and I was like, "No, you gotta get it up, girl. You gotta have some coffee." And yeah, I'm glad we did it.
Well, not just tonight. I'm just saying, period. Like, getting on YouTube's becoming less and less fun for me.
Really?
Yeah. I want to kind of just drift into the darkness.
Hmm.
and not be seen one day.
Okay. Maybe you need a little vacation, like a little, or you need to talk to like, get some different people. I'll send you like a list of guests, people that might spark your
Spark some inspiration. Yeah.
sparkiness. Yeah. You just need a little spunk.
Yeah. And you kind of got me back, in the flow of things. Right. And I had fun tonight. Tonight was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a really great show.
It was fun.
Yeah. So thank you for getting me back on the horse. And I appreciate you. You want to plug anything before you leave? You got any shows coming up?
Oh, yes, I do. If you guys are in, I do stand up as well. March
you gotta tell
20th.
a joke before you leave too.
Oh, really? Okay, so here's my joke that I tell people when they ask me to tell a joke. Usually this is reserved for Uber drivers who go, "Oh, you're a comedian, tell me a joke." Okay, so if mothers have Mother's Day and fathers have Father's Day, what do single guys have?
Mothers have Mother's Day. Fathers have Father's Day. And what day do single guys have?
Right. So if mothers have Mother's Day and fathers have Father's Day, what do single guys have?
Single day. Single man day.
Palm Sunday.
That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. You're going to get all the Christians triggered, Joe.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. I
Palm
forgot.
Sunday.
It's an actual day, too.
And isn't like Palm Sunday like coming up with, didn't that shit just pass, yo?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I think was it Ash Day? I don't know. I'm not Catholic. Ashy Day. Just don't put any lotion on all day.
Ash Wednesday. I was raised Catholic, so. But yeah, go ahead. Plug your show.
Oh, yeah. So Comedians of the Compound is going to be in Morris Plains, New Jersey. It's called Tiff's Ale House. Get tickets for that. It's myself, Aaron Berg, who I mentioned before, super funny guy. Lots of other really funny comedians from Compound Media. And then I actually have a whole tour. It's called the Domestic Terrorist Tour. I'm going to be a few dates in Florida. I'm going to be at like the Boca Black Box Theater April 31st. And then the Lake Park Black Box Theater in Palm Beach, May 1st, Side Splitters in Tampa, May 2nd. And then I got a bunch of other dates, Nashville, Huntsville, Alabama, Appleton, Wisconsin. Everything can be found on my website, ChrissieMayr.com, ChrissieMayr. Check out the Chrissie Mayr podcast. Yeah. Check out the episode that Hotep Jesus was on. That was like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have something for everybody. I talk to porn stars. I talk to comedians. I talk to like political personality types. So hopefully there's something there you like.
When I went to your Twitter profile, it had a different link than your website. Why did you have that one there? Is that like to buy tickets for a recent show or something?
Yeah. Like I'll have the link to buy tickets for like the next live show that I'm doing.
Okay, I got you. Right. So in the box, if you want, send me a DM and I'll switch the link out of the box. Right now it points to your Twitter account just to make sure people know who to follow.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate you. I'm going to close out the show.
Thanks, Brian.
No doubt. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
People. That was Chrissie Mayr. Awesome show. Feels good to be back. I'm glad she got me out of this. She's fun. She's somebody I would definitely like hang out with and drink a beer with. Really cool individual. Read this last super chat. Tom the mailman said, Palm Sunday straight gangster. Yeah, that was wild. That was a wild ass joke. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. This podcast will be on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple. So make sure you go type in Sharp Conversations, Sharp with an E, on those stations. Go check out my previous podcast and this one shortly. Peace out, y'all. Hotep. Love y'all.